All right. All right, Hamdi, how are you?
How are you, Nuseir?
Okay, guys, I have these questions I'm supposed to ask him, but today I think I'm going to go off script. Sorry. We're going to go off script, and I want to understand, what is the CEO of a yogurt company doing at the Sustainable Development Goals, Hamdi?
Oh.
Why are you here?
Oh, I'm so happy I'm here. You know, I was thinking about this morning in a meeting. My town in eastern part of Turkey, next to Euphrates River, I grew up as nomad. And all we did was making yogurt and cheese. The only way we can go to next city was through train. But growing up, I literally hate business.
You hated business?
Hated business. This would be
you
the
hated
last.
money as well?
This would be the last. We didn't have one, so this was the last thing I would do. But when I came here, it was very clear to me that if there was any impact was going to be made, it was going to be made businesses acting better. And what a better way to start that road than making yogurt, which could be very simple.
Wow. So how big is Chobani right now? Like, what is the impact of your business, and what do you do in that business to make the world better?
So we are a private company, of course, but we have about 23% of market share in the United States right now. We are fully independent. We are over $2.5 billion in sales. I mean, I can go on and business.
That's huge.
But I could say this: we are a very well-known big brand in the food space in the country.
Yeah.
And probably in the last, 20 years, Chobani might be the only company who started as a startup without raising any capital in the beginning and turned into making billions of investments in communities like upstate New York and Idaho, and still independent. Usually the business to scale it in the food side, especially on food side or consumer goods side, journey gets really cut short early on because of the financial needs. So we figured out how to grow it and stay independent.
Okay, but I'm going to guess 0 people here have a yogurt business.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people here have employees. They have teams. They have people that work with them. And you're known as the guy who treats their employees well in order to build a better business.
Yeah.
How do you actually do it?
So
you're supposed to only make profit and make your investors rich.
Right. Coming from the guy from Harvard, my advantage that I had no exposure to business or business world. So before Chobani, I have a very small cheese business. But before that, I didn't study business. I never worked anywhere. I never knew anyone who started business. So I had no knowledge of the playbook. So when I entered in this journey, I just didn't want to become the guy who I grew up hating. So the only way I could do that is I had to create my own way of doing this. So if you're in a town in upstate New York, if you're interacting with farmers, and if you have a guy who's coming from the Kurdish region of Turkey who's exposed to enormous amount of violations and income inequality and on and on, and then you say, I'm going to be in this world and commercially successful, but yet I will follow a different path. So you have to come up with your own, and I think I didn't wake up until 2012, and people told me, you've done something that never been done before. They're taking this old factory, turning it into one of the large food manufacturing space without getting any income. All that credit goes into this new way of doing business, which is being conscious of community, being conscious of your employees, being conscious of the consumers, but yet have a really broader view of why you do what you do. Is that you want to sell more yogurt? Is that you want to make more money? Is that you want to build more factories and all that stuff? But if you really pay attention to every simple difference that you can make along the way, if that's your conscious, then it happens to be, it's good for the business.
So you make more profit.
Exactly.
Okay, I know you also, so it's like you're trying to become the anti-CEO, not the CEO, the anti-CEO, and you're still making profit billions of dollars every year. So it is possible.
I make sales in billions, not profit, but let's make
next year we make billions in profit.
But enough. I think this is where you're coming. I know. So there's this motion. The sole purpose of business is to make money for the shareholders. What's the model against it is the sole purpose of business is to be conscious of all the stakeholders. But it's not opposite side. These are all the same, except where you put your attention to.
Yeah.
If you put attention to your making money, then you don't see everything else that is related to. But if you pay attention to stakeholders, in the end, business gets successful, and you do make more money for your shareholders.
I love that.
So it is the attention side, not necessarily
So
opposite.
speaking of stakeholders, not many people here know this, but this guy loves to hire refugees specifically.
Yep.
Why refugees specifically? And I'm going to ask a very sensitive question. Do they do better work or worse work than non-refugees?
Oh my God. So,
be honest.
yeah. I never thought one day I would be in front of these amazing people and talking to you about this when I studied this. We grew really rapidly in upstate New York, and I heard that there are refugees in this town called Utica.
Yes.
It's about half an hour from me.
And what is a refugee in one sentence?
Refugee is a definition of refugee is someone who left home or country to another place. Persecution, war, danger, all those places.
Okay.
It's actually identified in Geneva Convention. And they just leave everything behind and they leave because their life in danger, or they lost their loved ones or homes and everything that they depend on. US has been generous for the most part. I mean, we had a little bit of period that it wasn't that way, that received over 100,000 refugees across the country. And some of them settled in Utica, and I heard that they were having a hard time finding jobs. So I went there, and I went to the refugee center, and I said, what is the problem? We're hiring everyone. And that time, be honest with you, that was not my refugee work. You know, it was
happened
just
by coincidence.
No, I'm having everyone in the community be part of this.
Yes.
We're just starting this. I want everyone to be part of this.
Yes.
And they said, well, they don't have cars, they don't speak the language, a little bit of, people don't know who they are. And I said, well, let's get some cars and let's get some buses, let's get some translators, let's start this journey. Brought them in. Until the election, this refugee topic became election conversations. I brought the media in. 30% of Chobani's populations are all refugees from 19 different countries.
20% of your company's employees are refugees.
Refugees, yeah. And I said, what's the problem? We are shoulder to shoulder, brothers and sisters, making yogurt, making life for ourselves. And when the Yazidis got attacked and the girls got captured, I went to UNHCR, had an amazing meeting with them, and I realized that no business is involved with this. So I started Tent in 2016 with 4 companies, encouraging companies to hire refugees, because I realized on my journey is the minute refugee has a job, that's the minute they stop being a refugee. That's the
minute a refugee gets a job is the minute they stop being a refugee.
That is the minute they be part of their life. That's the minute they're part of society. That's the minute they can contribute.
I love that.
And that's why I will have one message on this amazing meeting. And I tried to talk about it the other day with Richard and all the SDG members. On my journey on refugees, on this particular topic, starting with 4 companies and a lot of pushback, today we have 300 global companies.
Wow.
Who are hiring thousands of refugees. Just give you a little color. Last year alone, the 10,000 refugees by amazing companies were hired in this country. And Najat is here with her effort, and everyone in Europe is part of Tent. Here she is. And we have got commitment to hire 250,000 movement refugees in Europe within 4 months. So what you see, business community is stepping in meaningfully. Business community is making commitment. Business community is making that shift. I think if we can get global business community part of all the SDG efforts and make a meaningful move, I really do believe that in the first half, like Richard talked about it the other day, that we might be in a bad shape, but in the second half, we can make this up.
I love that. Guys, this is the anti-CEO, and everybody should become an anti-CEO.
Everyone.
Thank you for changing the world, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good yogurt. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. One more time, please. It's so great to see people actually executing on the things we talk about. You know, we talk about the reform of businesses, and he's actually doing it. Fantastic. Now, it brings me great pleasure to say that I've enjoyed being here with you all today. You all look very important. But before we wrap the session, there are a few things I want to remember. First, we're halfway to 2030. And I know I keep saying this, but they promised me they'd pay me more each time. So we are halfway to 2030. We're about 50% of the way. The midpoint, some might say. Some might call it an interval to 2030. As daunting as that may seem, we have an immense amount of opportunity ahead. Each one of us can do something to help make the global goals happen. We just need to hold the powerful accountable and free up the funds. The journey to transform our current financial system will need all of us working together across sectors. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about the fierce urgency of now. He also mentioned that you are the little black boys and little black girls he dreamed of, albeit much hairier. But the power of now is what we need to focus on. Now is the time to ensure that the systems we rebuild are more equitable, with a fairer distribution of resources and power, and where everyone gets a seat at the table. Together, we've imagined a world where progress on the global goals is more important than profit, and where wealth and prosperity are accessible. Now, go out there and create that world. Thank you again to all of our speakers that we've had today, and to you for joining us. My name is Loiso Matenga, and my phone is fully charged. Until next time, goalkeepers, have a nice day.